See this girl, oh. She dey daydream say governor son go marry us we hold fine. Them never notice us na you. He no go even look you twice.
Abeg make we leave and make she dey deceive herself. No be person wey find that they marry. In short, me say him never even see her in person self.
She arrived at the camp with one bag, 0 friends, and no idea what she was about to face in camp. The mockery that came started even before she even unpacked her bag at the camp. Her fellow corp members teased her and said all sorts of things to her, that she was ugly. That night, nobody saved her a spot to sleep in because of her looks and what they thought about her. Nobody even looked up when she walked in. They felt she brought bad luck to them and she can't fit in. But every night, someone was waiting for her message. Someone very important. The other NYSC members all laughed at her uniform, her face, her hair, everything about her. They said she was too ugly and fat. But she had been talking to him for 3 months. The one person who made her feel alive and loved. He never saw her face, and that was the governor's son. He knew her voice, her dreams, her pains, but never her face. The camp announced a very important visitor was coming. Nobody knew exactly who was coming. All they knew was that someone was coming to visit them. That night, he sent her a message that made her hands shake badly. He was the one coming to the camp. He was coming specifically to find her and to finally see her. She lay awake all night thinking about what tomorrow would bring her. She stared at her reflection and thought he will leave her when he finally sees her face. She had many thoughts run through her head, but all she knew was that the governor's son was coming anyways. The next day came. The governor's son convoy arrived at exactly 9 in the morning. 3 black SUVs. When he finally stepped out, the entire camp went completely silent for a moment. The governor's son was right in front of them. Every girl in the camp suddenly remembered how to smile that morning. And that did not move. She already knew exactly who had just arrived. But in truth, he was not there for the camp. He was looking for one specific person, who was Ada. Her phone buzzed. The message read, "I am here. Where are you?" She panicked and then she typed back slowly, "I am here, but please do not come find me." Then he responded with 3 words and her entire body went completely cold. Then he went straight looking for her. He did not stop to greet anyone. He walked straight towards her. Then he finally saw her. She wanted to run. Her legs completely refused to move at all. She didn't know what to do at that point in time. The girls who mocked her on day 1 were now completely silent and still. They couldn't bring themselves to believe what they were seeing. He did not look at the crowd once, not even for a single second. His focus was all on Ada, the girl he came to see. Then she wiped her eye fast, then looked up and finally spoke to him with a sudden confidence that she gained. She said, "I told you not to come. You should not have come here today." He smiled. Not a small smile, a full real smile that changed his entire face. He said, "I knew exactly what I would find, and I came anyways. Now I'm with you and I have seen you." Every phone in that camp was completely pointed at them. Every single one of the NYSC members in the camp was recording the events happening before their eyes, and that was when he finally noticed. Everyone was watching, everyone was recording. Without a single word, he stepped sideways and blocked her from the entire crowd because he noticed how shy she was at that point. The camp commander rushed over and whispered something urgent into his ears that only the both of them could hear. He said something short and quiet and immediately stepped back, like someone waiting for an order. When she saw what happened, she was surprised. She had known he was important, but she had not known he was this powerful. Then he asked her one question, just one question that broke her completely open. He asked her, "Why did you never send me a single photo of yourself? Why have you been hiding it from me since?" She opened her mouth, nothing came out. Not a single word came. She was just speechless and couldn't utter a single word. He said, "If it's the reasons you might be thinking, I already knew. Someone told me everything about you months ago." Ada asked herself in curiosity. Someone told him, but who at this camp even knew about their conversations? 3 days earlier, someone had been listening to her conversation and private call with the governor's son, and Ada never knew about this person. Grace was her name. She had found Daniel's contact and called him directly about Ada to tell him everything about her. She told him Ada was at the camp. She described exactly what Ada looked like, her looks, her fatness, and many other lies she added to it. Grace had not done it for Ada. She had done it for herself entirely because of jealousy and thinking that the governor's son will leave Ada. Someone at this camp had gone through her private life without asking her. She looked him straight in the eyes and asked, "Did it change anything for you?" He said, "It changed nothing. I came because I already made up my mind. Your looks does not matter at all to me." The crowd behind them lost control completely after hearing that. Nobody had ever seen anything like this. She looked down at herself and felt everything she had tried to hide. Her looks and others. She didn't know how to feel at that point. Then the governor's son reached out slowly and lifted her chin up with 2 gentle fingers. Looking straight into her eyes without blinking, he said, "Stop hiding your face. There is nothing wrong with your face. True beauty comes from the heart and not what outside shows." She had heard that particular statement for years from other people. Right there in front of everyone, she broke down into tears. The entire camp went silent. Even the people who had mocked her went quiet. They all haven't seen anything like that before. Grace watched from the crowd. This was not how she had planned it all. She felt the weight of her plans falling right in front of her. Right there, the governor's son put his hands to Ada's own in a gesture of hugging her right there in front of everyone. The entire camp held its breath. Ada stared at the hand waiting for hers. She didn't know if she was dreaming at that point or whether everything happening was real. Then she reached out and took his hand too. In that moment, she felt a cold chill run through her veins. The camp erupted around them, but the two of them just stood completely still, without moving, just staring at each other and standing still. Then he told her he had somewhere very important to go. He would be back soon. Then he entered his convoy, and minutes later the convoy disappeared through the gates, and she stood there not moving at all, still trying to digest every single thing that just happened. Daniel drove straight home. Home was the governor's mansion on the hill, his father's house, which looked like heaven on earth. Then when he entered the house, he sat down with both of his parents and told them he had met someone very special, someone he wants to spend the rest of his life with. His father did not speak immediately. He just stared at Daniel for a long time. Without uttering a single word to him, he just stared. Then, minutes later, his father said, "That girl is completely unacceptable. We have already chosen someone for you." Father produced a photo of the girl. The girl in it was strikingly and undeniably beautiful, without a doubt, but Daniel was already in love with Ada. Then Daniel stood up slowly. He looked at both of his parents and said absolutely nothing, just stared at the both of them. He told them calmly, "I am not asking for permission. I am informing you both because I want to marry her." His father stepped forward and said, "Marry that girl and you will lose everything. I mean everything. You will lose your inheritance." For the first time that evening, Daniel had no immediate answer to give anyone. He just looked down on himself. That same evening, the other girl arrived at the mansion. Her name was Victoria,
She looks wonderful,
and she was
doesn't
very pretty. Victoria was perfect in the eyes of everyone.
I must
She
admit,
knew
though,
exactly what she was
balancing
doing the
picture
whole
is
time.
far easier than
But the
balancing-
moment she was alone, the smile disappeared
Understood.
completely from her
It won't
face.
happen again.
She then showed her true color.
Someone had told her about Ada, about what happened at the camp that morning. Then 2 days later, Victoria drove herself directly to the camp without telling anyone, just to see Ada. When she approached Ada, Ada looked up from her notebook and did not recognize the woman standing there. Then she leaned closely and said quietly, "Stay away from my Daniel. It was never yours to keep." Ada stood up slowly. She did not raise her voice. She did not step back either. Then Ada said, "If he chooses you, that's his decision to make, not yours to enforce. He will choose who he wants to be with." Then Victoria left in anger without saying another word. But the damage of her visit was already done. Ada was now alone on that bench. She started feeling that the governor's son wouldn't let her choose her. That night, Daniel sat alone for hours, thinking about his decision, the inheritance or Ada. He had to choose. 1 week later, his family announced his engagement to Victoria publicly and officially, showing that he later chose his inheritance over Ada. Ada read the announcement 3 times when she saw it. She did not cry. She just went completely still. 3 days later, a sealed letter arrived at the camp. It was addressed to Ada only. The further she read, the more her hands began to shake uncontrollably beneath her breath. The letter said she was adopted by her parents and her real father had been looking for her. Her biological father was Richard Coe, one of the wealthiest men in the entire country. He had been searching for his daughter for 23 years now, without stopping once, without giving up. When Ada finally saw him, she felt something she could not explain or put into words. Her father broke down into tears. The most powerful man in the room broke down first. He wept without any shame. Then he showed her photographs, documents and letters spanning over 23 years of searching. Then he asked her how she had been, and she told him everything she had been through. As she spoke, Richard's expression changed completely. He said nothing to Ada. He simply stood up and made one simple phone call. He pulled his financial support from the governor's entire election campaign immediately because he was the key figure sponsoring his campaign. Across the city, the governor received the news that his key financial sponsor had pulled out. Daniel heard everything from the hallway and finally understood what he had done. The governor's son did not tell anyone where he was going. He just grabbed his keys and left in a hurry. When he arrived at the camp, the official told him that Ada has checked out of the camp 2 days ago. She was gone. That same day, Richard brought Ada home, a home she never knew existed that was waiting for her. Richard spared nothing. He wanted his daughter to finally see herself differently. He changed her entire looks completely. Meanwhile, without Richard's school money, the governor's entire campaign began collapsing very fast. He didn't know what to do or how to react. Victoria read the news quietly when she saw it. Behind her perfect expression, something was already calculating. Daniel, on the other hand, tried to reach Ada. He called her number 7 times that evening. She did not answer even once. She watched his name light up her screen 7 times. She let every call go, without even trying to answer them. When the governor finally found out who Ada really was, the color left his face completely. He couldn't believe what was happening. The governor ran through his own mansion looking for his son to help beg Ada and to get back with her, because he knew what it would mean for him. But when he got to Daniel's room was empty. His personal belongings were already gone from the mansion. Daniel drove himself to Richard's school estate alone that night. No convoy, nobody with him, just him all alone. Richard saw him on the security camera. He stood there and said absolutely nothing yet, just watching him. When Ada heard his name, she did not react loudly. She just sat very still. She stood at that window for a long time. Then she turned and made her decision. She was going to see him for the last time. The gates opened slowly. He walked through them, not knowing what was waiting for him inside. Richard met him first. The two men sat across from each other, saying nothing initially. Richard just staring at him. Richard finally spoke. He told him, "You chose comfort over character. Now you must live with it. You chose your inheritance over the one person you loved." Then Ada walked in, and everything Daniel had prepared to say completely left him. He was left speechless and ashamed. She had been mocked, rejected, and broken, but she was still the one left standing.